as you're teaching your kids to think well, do you think it's important to teach our kids about other worldviews? Because we want to teach them everything, of course, from a Christian biblical worldview, but do you also teach kids from a secular worldview at the same time?
That's a question that I love, because I think that question, thinking through, should we expose our kids to other worldviews? That's something that can seem very, very scary. I think especially for those who are homeschooling, because most homeschooling parents are so intentional, at discipleship. And I love that.
Yes.
And we can think like, oh, like this is our home. Like we don't want any alternate ideas there. And it's like, well, we're all sinful. So we all bring alternate ideas into our house, every day. And we need to be prepared to recognize them. And so what I really encourage parents to do in this situation, and when we think about protecting our kids, protection does not equal complete isolation, but it equals preparation, appropriate preparation. And the example I like to give is actually from my first few years of teaching. I'm sure there's a ton of homeschooling moms watching right now who were teachers, before they had children.
Many.
And that your first year, your first year of teaching, you get sick a ton because, everybody's breathing in your face, you're just exposed to all these germs. And then your second year, you're supposed to get sick a little bit less. And like third year is supposed to be the charm, you're immune to everything. Well, for me, the exact opposite happened. I got sick a good deal my first year, and I got sick even more my second year. And then my third year, before Christmas, I was on my 8th round of antibiotics. And I was like, okay, something needs to change. So I went to the doctor and I was like, okay, I'm not here like for more sinus infection medicine. Like I want to talk about like, what is the root of this? Because I should not be getting this many sinus infections, the first half of the school year. And so the doctor just sat down with me. He asked me a whole bunch of questions. And one of the questions he asked me was how often I was washing my hands. And I happen to be a germaphobe. So I like wash my hands all the time. And I happened to be teaching in a mobile classroom that didn't have a sink. So I was using hand sanitizer probably like 50 plus times a day. And the doctor was like, okay, ding, 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 ding. I think we found our problem. And he said, he's like, using hand sanitizer is good before you're about to eat something or before you're about to rub your eyes, your nose, or your mouth. He said, but just throughout the day, he said, if you're constantly using hand sanitizer, what you're doing is you're not only killing the germs that you've picked up from your classroom, but you're also killing all of the good bacteria, and you're not giving your body an opportunity to get immunity in small doses to these germs. So he said, I'd like you to try washing your hands instead of using hand sanitizer. And he said, and just do that before you eat or before you need to rub your eyes, nose, or mouth. And the amazing thing that happened is once I took that advice, I didn't get another sinus infection for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And it was like incredible because my body had the opportunity to get exposed to these germs in small doses and build up immunity. And the same thing is true with our kids. If we never, allow them to see any movie, that doesn't have a Christian theme, or if we never allow them to read any secular book, or we never allow them, to see any possible YouTube video.
Or play with the neighborhood kids who are maybe not believers.
Yes. Any exposure, to things that are, to either unbelievers or unbelieving content, then they're going to have this false dichotomy that like anything that's Christian is safe and anything that's not Christian is bad. Where, as you just mentioned, there are so many things that are considered within the Christian community that aren't biblical. And then, by God's common grace, we have engineers and scientists who are not Christians who, they are able to say true things because they're made in God's image, so we want to equip our kids to filter through, okay, what is true, what is not. So what I recommend to parents is that we expose our kids to the ideas of competing worldviews in small, safe, healthy doses and help them understand how those ideas do not line up with reality.
Homeschool Insights is sponsored by CTC Math. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com and try it for free. For more great homeschool inspiration and resources, listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.